Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Mendoza in Argentina. It's day one of the Women's Champions Trophy, and it's the turn of the teams in Pool B now to get their campaign underway. Australia take on England. These two teams recently at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow in the final. What a tense match that was, with Australia coming through in a shootout, having broken England hearts 20 seconds from the final whistle. England leading 1-0 before Australia equalised through a penalty corner and then went on to win the shootout. England, well, Jekyll and Hyde sort of side. Will it be the team that played in the World Cup that turns up to Argentina, or will it be the team that played in the Commonwealth Games that turns up? If it's the latter, then they have an opportunity. If it's the former, then you can go home now. Both sides out on the park. Now the national anthems, first of Australia and then that of England.
First, the national anthem of Australia.
Australia, along with the Netherlands, have won this competition the most, 6 times, 91, 93, 95, 97, 99, but the last time they won it, 2003. They won the Champions Challenge 1 last time around, hence why they are here. But on World Cup form and on Commonwealth Games form, they are one of the best sides in the world. Here is the Australia lineup, and a welcome return for number 29, Tanil Attard, after a long-term injury. She's back into the fold, but a number of the players that won silver in The Hague and gold in Glasgow are not here. Adam Cummins blooding a few new players as the Hockeyroos continue their build-up for Rio in 18 months' time or so. As for England, Kirsty Mackay starts in goal in place of Maddie Hinch, but England 11th at the World Cup, 2nd at the Commonwealth Games, and 12 of the squad played at both. So that just shows you the difference that Danny Kerry perhaps has made. That's Danny Kerry, not Craig Keenan. Craig Keenan down on the team sheet as coach, so he can sit down on the bench and Danny Kerry can sit up in the stand and watch. 2 umpires. Just saw Chico Soma of Japan. That's Sarah Wilson from Scotland. And Australia in their team huddle. No Rachel Lynch in goal for Australia. Ash Wells now between the posts for the Hockeyroos. Crowd counting down and giving the jump on the umpires, who now blow their whistle, and Australia get us underway, playing from left to right in the gold and green, England in all red, and both sets of players wearing black armbands, as you can see on that shot there, in memory of Phil Hughes, the Australian cricketer who died so dreadfully earlier on in the week through one of those freak accidents. But a nice respect by both teams. In fact, throughout the world today, marks of respect have been made to Phil Hughes, and that is absolutely fitting. Alongside me in the commentary box for this one, Mel Clulo, former England and Great Britain international. And Mel, fascinating clash between two sides that know each other very, very well, having played against each other so many times. But as I said in the build-up, if it's the England that played in the Commonwealth Games, then they have a chance in this competition. If it's the England that played like they played in the World Cup, then they're going to be passengers, aren't they?
I think they are, and you know, Australia are missing some massive players for in this game, but I think it'll be the England from Commonwealth Games that turn up. I think Danny Carey's had a massive influence on this group in a short space of time.
As Australia look to get on the front foot early on. The 67th meeting between these two nations. England have won 22, Australia 29, and there have been 15 draws. England, though, do not have a good recent record against Australia. They've lost 4 of the last 5 inside 70, and 5 of the last 5 if you take the shootout from the Commonwealth Games. Or as Mel quite rightly pointed out, had it been quarters, which is what this format is being played in this competition, then England would have won gold in Glasgow. But always looking on the bright side, Mel.
It's heartbreaking as it was. I think every single player there, having had such a tragic World Cup, I think they would have taken any kind of medal at the Commonwealth Games. And to see them improve with every single game, to get to that final and to be 14 seconds away from a gold medal, you've got to take your hat off to the 16 players that were there and the coaching staff that managed to turn it around in a short space of time.
But Australia, well, they did that against England in the Commonwealth Games. Then they've just played a 3-test series against New Zealand. In the second test, or the first test, Australia were 2 down, came back to draw 2-all. In the second test, it was 2-all. Emily Smith scored a goal in the last 30 seconds to win it for Australia 3-2. And in the third test, New Zealand were 2-0 up and 3-2 up, and Ash Nelson scored 30 seconds from time to tie it up 3-all. So there's a recurring theme here with Australia, that it's never up until that final hooter.
And they're scoring goals, which is what you want to see.
One thing I think both teams will be pretty happy about is the weather. It's been really very, very warm here in Mendoza in the build-up to the start of this competition, but day 1 of competition sees overcast skies, temperature below 20. But give it a couple of days and we're going to be into the low 30s, so they'll be delighted just to get 1 or 2 games under their belts in these conditions rather than all of them at 30 degrees. With Australia on the front foot, the ball comes rifling across, and that was some cross from Casey Eason, the Australia captain. Bray plays it into field, but it's picked off easily by Emily Smith, who feeds it out to Nascourt. Nascourt tackled by Quack. Nascourt then gives her the slip, plays it in. Was that off the foot? Yes, it was. Penalty corner, and Australia have started this game really, really positively. Haven't allowed England to settle at all.
It's what Australia do, is they come out of the blocks, and Nanscorn here does really well, cuts back inside on Queck, and it's just a hard slap pass in, probably speculative to be honest, and Laura Unsworth not quite ready for it. Emily Smith jumps out of the way, straight onto the foot for the corner. And this is where I think Australia have been clinical in the last 2 competitions. Anna Flanagan was outstanding in The Hague, Jodie Kenny outstanding in Commonwealth Games, both on top of the circle.
Both of them standing at the top of the circle. Who's it going to be? Looks like it's going to be Jodie Kenny. Well, the injection wasn't good enough, but they're going to get a second bite of the cherry because Susanna Townsend has got her foot in the way. So Australia get away with that one.
A missed trap on top of the circle by Attard. But Kenny's got the mind to change it from a flick to a hit. Good running by Townsend, hits on the foot.
Kenny once again, goes the flick, and that's gone through Kirsty Mackay. And there's an inquisition going on here between Unsworth and Mackay, and that's a soft goal for England to concede.
It looks as though there's indecision from the goalkeeper and the post player. It's Unsworth on the post. Not sure who's taking it. They're both stood level. Mackay thinks that Mackay thinks Unsworth's got it. It looks like it's taken a slight deflection off Susanna Townsend as it comes out. Possibly the inquisition was that ball too high, because it's hit her sort of on the knee as she's tried to jump out the way. And England have decided not to appeal, so 1-0 down so soon in the game is really disappointing.
That's the first goal we've seen in the first quarter here in Mendoza. We haven't mentioned, but the match is being played 4 quarters of 15 minutes, 2 minutes between quarters 1 and 3, and 3 and 4, 10 between quarters 2 and quarter 3. But there's also going to be 40 seconds time off, penalty corners to allow the defensive team to put their protective kit on, and also after goals. So while some people might think we're losing time in the game, from 70 down to 60, we're gaining it by these 40-second stoppages. So we've already gained 1 minute 20, for example, on that short corner and goal that Australia have just scored. These two sides played a warm-up game in the week. England won it 2-0. As Danny Carey said to us this morning, you can't read too much into that, especially if you're going to give away the ball so softly here, and a chance here for Australia to double their lead. And Nance makes a hash of that.
Kirsty Mackay does really well here to stay on her feet. Doesn't go to ground to make it easy for Nance. She's made her make the decision by staying up on her feet. Good footwork. Just what she needs after conceding the first goal.
Australia. Flanagan up this right-hand flank. Flanagan will drop it back out to Attard. Attard to Kenny, and England sitting at half court just have had no time on the ball in the opening 6 minutes or so. Find themselves a goal behind. Flanagan doesn't retrieve the ball. Now Danson has an opportunity if she runs direct. She's got McCallan inside. Danson around Kenny, still going. Good tackle, and I think Danson may have picked up a knock, is she, on Flanagan as she went through? I think she might have just caught her head. The pressure from Kenny, she fell into Flanagan. Hits Flanagan's right thigh. That's going to hurt. No wonder she's down.
Yeah.
And Danson now being subbed off, and Hannah McLeod comes on. In fact, she's walking rather gingerly. Looks in a little bit of distress. That could be her game done. Danson helped from the pitch. We'll hope she's okay. So Attard feeds it into Bone to Kenny. And England go hunting for the ball. Three-quarter press now, if you like, and Lee beaten to it by Bone. Bone then goes around Owsley, and then picked up by Townsend. Townsend to Lee. Lee to the top of the circle. Kalin feeds it out to the right-hand flank. Haycroft loses possession, and Attard takes the sideline ball for Australia. Ash Nelson keeps going forward despite the attempted tackles. And there is Danson. Just being questioned just to make sure she hasn't picked up some concussion. Shipley to Unsworth. Webb. Quetch will drop it back out to Webb. Webb under pressure from Slattery. Keeps calm. And England have themselves the free hit.
It's quite an interesting formation that England are playing. They've got 3 defenders at the back that are marking, and they're almost playing like a box midfield. So in this situation, it's Unsworth and McCallan are playing deep, and then there's Gilbert and Haycroft that are playing in front, but they're not actually playing wide. So they've got a box in the middle and then 3 forwards.
Just got in each other's way. England there in attack. It was a good run from Lily Owsley. Joey Lee just got in her way. She's trying to get out the way. In the end, the obstruction call. Attard. That's the free hit. Spinning away is Dwyer. Dwyer gives away the free hit. Unsworth. Shipley back into Unsworth, and Unsworth does well to retain possession. Down the line it goes, looking for Lily Owsley. Owsley keeps it alive, but gives it straight back to Australia. Unsworth wins it back once more. Owsley, little look up, ball in, hunting for it is McLeod. Good work from Kenny. And Ashley Wells in the Australia goal. Shipley happy to take on the Australia forward. Emily Smith gets the better of her on this occasion. Kenny. Good ball out of defence from Kenny. So Australia unable to keep it alive. Good work from Gilbert. Comes back inside into trouble, and Easton picks it off. Australia ranked 2 in the world. England now ranked 6th after their performance in The Hague. They finished 11th. Lovely little ball. Snapshot. Chance here perhaps for England if they can get it out of feet. And on goal, Wells makes the save. McLeod with another opportunity, and the penalty corner is won by Ellie Wotton.
It's just good pressure by England all the way through. Jolie tries a snapshot on the edge of the circle, but it's Hannah McLeod in here. Gets Dwyer down. Speculative across the D really, and it looks like it's come off Kenny. Trying to get the touch onto Emily Smith's foot.
So a chance here for England to try and get back on level terms. Holly Webb, which is out. Ansley at the top of the circle. It's going to be Ansley. flick, saved by Wells fairly comfortably. Long corner taken quickly, on a reverse stick, in it comes. Too high from Georgie Twigg.
It's good running by the Australian flyer to block one side of the goal, which made the save look almost easy for the Australian keeper, but it was more to do with the number one runner and the angle that they ran.
Some real pace about Australia's interpassing in the midfield at the moment as we enter the final 3 minutes of the first quarter. Australia 1, England 0. Goal coming at 4 minutes into the piece. Penalty corner. Deflection past Kirsty Mackay. Nascorn. Oh, well, feels that it was her ball. The umpire thought otherwise. Townsend. Ansley. Efficient play from England as Webb goes forward. Here is Owsley. Taken quickly from Owsley. Owsley making tracks to the 25 and the edge as it's played into the goal line by Ellie Watson. But better from England, more incisive down that right flank.
It's taken the self-pass quickly. Australia will always put numbers around to try and crowd the person that's on the ball, and if you can win the free hit and take it quickly, you can take 2 or 3 Australians out with one move.
Again, they go down that right flank to England. Nobody on the left flank here for Georgie Twigg to pick out, so she has to go back. And now Susie Gilbert with her back to the Australian goal, feeds it back into defence, but the defence give it away fairly cheaply in truth. Ansley under pressure now from Catherine Slattery. Ansley drops it out to Townsend. Good work from Twigg. Townsend, little look up, masses of space on that right flank. And Twigg, to be fair to her, had to go across to Shipley because of the pressure of the retreating Australian defence. Into the circle it goes, and that has gone against Sophie Bray. There is the hooter that brings the first quarter to a close, and it's one that England started poorly, giving away a cheap goal, but finished stronger. But Australia lead by a goal to 0.
2 minutos de descanso para los equipos. 2 minutes break.
Rommel, Australia will be delighted with the early goal.
Inglaterra 0.
Seem to be more in control of this than England on what we've seen in the opening 15.
Yeah, I think it's an experienced Australian side. Yes, they've got a few new caps in there, but you know, we know that you don't give away a cheap cap to a hockey route. So for me, I think England have got stronger as the half's gone on. I think they've certainly that last pattern of play where they brought all the Australians over to one side and then transferred the ball, gave half a chance to Sophie Bray, and it's just that trap in the circle. It's the final trap in the circle that is so crucial for England today.
Yes, it's a bobbly pitch out there. We've seen difficulty throughout. Here's some of the highlights from that first half, and that's the goal that gives Australia the lead. Jodie Kenny, scorer. see there from the replay, the deflection off the #1 runner stick that took it underneath Kirsty Mackay. Originally we thought it was a softish goal, but when it's deflected at that speed, it is very difficult for the defenders. So on replay, it's a difficult one for the keeper. But your initial reaction at the start, Mel, was that it might have been too high.
It was just a question whether it came off Townsend's stick or whether it was her leg. If it comes off the leg, then that's what I think the questions were within the English defence. They didn't go for the referral, but have actually come out after conceding and going goal down and actually played some pretty good stuff.
So pause in proceedings. And Alex Danson actually is receiving treatment now and oxygen. So she is seen to. We saw her leave the pitch under her own steam. It was quite a heavy knock on the back of the Australian player Anna Flanagan there. As I say, she walked away, but since she's been on the bench, obviously things have deteriorated slightly, and now we understand that an ambulance has been called for her, so hence the pause in proceedings. So difficult for both sets of players, but more so for England to see their captain down.
Nobody likes to see anybody get injured in this way. Of course, England are going to be absolutely distraught and gutted for Alex, and they're obviously going to want to know how she is. But likewise for Australia, you know, Alex is renowned as one of the best strikers in the world, and you want to play against her in tournaments like this. We just hope that she's going to be okay. Rightly, they've pushed all the players off the bench. They've asked all the cameras to leave her alone, and we hope it's not as bad as it potentially is sounding.
Well, they enjoy their hockey here in Argentina, especially in Mendoza. This stadium built for the Pan American Cup last year, but with this tournament in mind as well. And plenty of support with the Las Leones playing a little later on. It's starting to fill up nicely. England continuing just to talk about what's happened in the game so far. Both teams in this sort of limbo state at the moment, and quite understandably so, because Danson's health paramount above anything else. And the England team just going for a little jog now. Not sure that everybody else in the stadium realises what's going on.
I think that's possibly a good thing, though.
Yeah.
I think this can make people feel very flat, but actually, I think they're doing a fantastic job. They're trying to build up the atmosphere, and of course, they're all here. They love their hockey, as we've said. They're all here to see Amar in her final farewell tournament.
Another farewell tournament for Amar.
Yeah, even she's been on Twitter saying it, so maybe this is it for her. Maybe for a year, and then she'll come back for Rio.
Well, there you go. What will she be by then, 39?
Yeah. Spring chicken.
Well, I mean, it's a real treat, isn't it, to see Aymar and Powman in the same tournament. Let's not forget social media. Our Twitter handle is @FIH_hockey. Our Facebook and YouTube handles are FI Hockey. So let us know your thoughts on the competition. Who do you think might end up winning it? What do you think of the quarters? Now here's the replay of the goal. We were wondering about the height. Very difficult to see. They thought about it though, didn't you? You can see Unsworth and Mackay having a chat.
It's definitely high. The question is whether it's stick or leg. And that's clearly the conversation that they were having. Susanna Townsend is the only person that can know whether that's hit her stick or hit her leg.
Hockey Rouge don't care. Kenny opens her account here at the Champions Trophy in Mendoza. Mendoza, the foot of the Andes. We can't see them today because of the cloud, but they are just behind our commentary position. The tallest mountain outside of the Himalayas, just down the road, shade under 7,000 meters. Having said that, Mendoza itself not particularly high, just 746 meters above sea level, so it won't affect the players too much. That is but a bump. What is the Andes? But we're about 1,100 kilometers due west of Buenos Aires, just shy of the Chilean border, in fact. And Danson now being stretchered off the park on oxygen. And in fact, she's got her neck in a brace as well. Hopefully that's purely precautionary and nothing more. Applause all round, and you can see the look on people's faces there. They weren't quite sure. Now they understand why there was this pause in proceedings. And obviously we'll bring you news of Alex Danson as soon as we get it. Wine and olive oil are the main staples of Mendoza, but it's also a tourist destination. You can ski here in the winter, whitewater rafting, mountain biking, zip wiring. If you're more across places like Queenstown in New Zealand, it's a bit like that. So the second quarter gets underway. Australia leading by a goal to nil. A goal coming from Jodie Kenny after 4 minutes of play from a penalty corner. Both sets of players have had to contend with a delay in proceedings due to an injury to Alex Danson, who's now been stretchered from the pitch to an ambulance to be taken to hospital for what we hope are just precautionary measures. Flanagan then to take the free hit on that far side. Ball straight in from Easton, and it's behind harmlessly for an England 16. Sam Queck seems to be trying to steal about 5 yards for the first time. England are called back. Sarah Wilson decides that is an Australia ball. That's gone. Possession back, but they can't seem to get any clean possession, England, here. It's all a bit scrappy for them at the moment. Flanagan steps in to take possession back off England, then they win it back again. It's like pinball in there. Full stretches Flanagan to get the ball away from Lee. Webb. Unsworth under pressure, gets it out. Ansley trying to pick up Owsley, so close to the England forward. And so Australia, between a bone, will get it clear, really get hold of that, and that's fallen to Townsend in the middle of the park. Great tackle. Easton with it. Then she gives away the free hit.
I think with the loss of Alex Dance and Georgie Twigg and Laura Unsworth are going to be crucial to the outcome of this game. They both sit in the middle of the pitch. Both been in this squad for a long time. And their organisational skill and leadership are going to be very, very important for the rest of this game and potentially the rest of the tournament.
Bone goes cross field and it's bouncy out there. It is a bouncy pitch. And McMahon could just edge it behind for a sideline ball to England. And Sophie Bray gives away the free hit. Area ball thrown. Wasn't really aware of where it was. Too long wanted by Georgie Twigg in the middle of the park. And then Unsworth comes in to try and break up the play, but Australia on. Stopped for long, but Unsworth continues to backtrack and gets a vital stick on the ball from an England perspective. That's going to pick up a card, I would imagine. It is, it's a green. It's Gabrielle Nance, I think, who's coming over to take her place. Lean out for England with Australia short-handed. Townsend tried to play it on to Bray. I thought she might have taken it on herself.
Good play by Jolie there. Good lead out by Lily Owsley ahead of the ball to take the Australian defence away. And it was the correct decision by Lee to play the ball into Townsend, and potentially could have taken a touch before playing it onto Bray, definitely, but had it come off, we'd have said it was a great pass.
Confirmation.
Are you subbing up for me?
Nance on the naughty step. Unsworth tries to play it first time, but Easton picks it off, then drops it off to Nascourt. Nascourt finds Emily Smith. Smith up against Webb. Smith still going. Lovely work from Smith, spinning. And in the end, England just about get it away through Hayescroft. And they enjoyed that. Piece of play from Emily Smith. Gilbert cuts back in field, has a little look up. There's 5 players in goal between her and that ball she wanted to play back. And eventually England do get it across the back. Sam Queck, little look up, but again the Australian defence has already shifted across.
It's what they want you to do. It's the fake space. They allow you to play the pass in, knowing that once it's on its way, you've got 3 or 4 players that are going to close you down. And if you, as the ball carrier, know what I'm going to do with it as the ball's on its way, you can take 3 defenders out of the way almost straight away.
Quack trying to feed the ball into the circle to Shona McCullen. Kenny take the 16. We've got 8.5 left in quarter 2. Australia still leading back a goal to nil. Good work from McMahon in the midfield. Really good work from McMahon. Australia allowed onto the front foot. Lovely bit of skill, and that's a good save from Mackay. She almost went down too early. Brooke Parrish tried to put it up and over the top. Mackay made the save with her glove. Good work in a tight space from Susie Gilbert. Shipley. Straight down the throat of Bone.
It's another deflection again off Holly Webb's stick, so it's a great instinctive save by McCann. I think coming into this tournament, I think for me personally, Danny Carey's mixed it up a little bit. You know, he's put Kirsty Mackay in goal today, and I think she deserves an opportunity to play in big tournaments. Jo Lee's been in outstanding form for Clifton this year. Sarah Haycroft for Surbiton. Shona McCallan's back from injury and she's being given a chance. And I think those players that are sat home won't be thinking the same thing probably, but it mixes it up and it's giving people opportunities and it's creating a much bigger squad of players for Danny Kerry to pick from, and it's competition for places.
Mackay winning only her 11th cap in goal today. Unsworth into Gilbert, a little space for Gilbert to turn into. Bray. Good covering by Bone. Shipley. Unsworth. Gilbert. Townsend. Bray. Better build-up play here from England. That's a nice ball from Bray. Now, can they find this ball into the circle? And that's another example of play to the whistle. England wanting the whistle blown, and it should have been blown, but it wasn't. And you have to play until the umpire makes the decision. And all the good work that led to that was for nothing. Free hit to Australia in the middle of the park, which Attard will take. Attard drops it out to Dwyer. Goes to McMahon. McMahon around Watton. And then it's put out by Dwyer. Off the stick of McLeod, so Flanagan takes the sideline ball. Flanagan, England in trouble here, but it then goes onto the foot of Slattery. And England have the free hits, taken by Webb. Hayescroft turns it round the corner. Callan finds Hayescroft once again. Hayescroft putting it forward for McLeod. Let's have another look at this Australia attack.
Planted feet by Holly Webb there.
As Mackay has to clear once again.
But it's the little lifts and it's the reverse passes that Australia are very, very good at. They know when to pass and when to run.
England into the 25, and that was a chance there. There's Hayescroft trying to pick out McLeod, but again the Australia defender gets her stick on the ball. The difference between a great pass and the Australians being able to pick it off is literally half a yard to a yard. The England forwards are just going in behind the Australian defence a little bit too quickly and giving the Australian defender half a chance of getting a touch. Callan with a good pick-up, and it comes! And it was a missed trap by Anna Flanagan that gave Sophie Bray half a chance, but Bray couldn't connect with the ball.
Great run by Owsley, gets her head up, crashes the ball in again, slightly lifted off the ground, which we're noticing a lot of players are struggling to trap the ball. Sophie Bray had every right to swing at that. But good defending by Bone it was in the end.
Oh dear, well, Ansley's missed it, and they're in round the back here, Australia. Pulled back by Emily Smith, and England, with their keeper beaten, do well.
Yeah, it's a great pass, and that's the difference. The half a yard that Ansley couldn't quite make the trap, but Unsworth, fantastic cover defending. Gets herself on the line again. Mackay comes out but doesn't commit. She makes Emily Smith make a decision, and eventually the ball's given back to England.
Twigg up against Eastham. Twigg gets the call. Good work from Hayescroft. Wins the free hit. Up to the edge of the circle. England looking for an equaliser here. Got just over 2 minutes of the first half remaining. Not 5 is the argument from Shona McCallan. Chance on the reverse stick, and it's not wide by far. Jolie with the tomahawk shot.
And that's exactly what she's done all season for her club side, is just the little 3D skills in and around the circle, waiting for defenders to commit. She has the ability to lift it up, and she doesn't hesitate in hitting a backhand shot. Unfortunately for her and for England, it just wasn't on target this time.
Lee again wanting the ball. Lee into the circle edge. Still going, Jolie. And rather than unleashing, she tries to place it in the corner, and it's picked off by Edwina Bone. Is there a referral coming in? Yeah, there is. Let's listen in.
I want you to know that I did play advantage, but there may not have been an advantage. Can you check that for me, please? Okay, I'll take a look.
So we've come upstairs. So Sarah Wilson saying
I've told her this, okay?
she saw a foot. Okay. She was playing advantage, but was there an advantage? This is the sort of question that the third video umpire doesn't like. They prefer the clean ones. There's the foot. But the umpire's saying she's seen it. She's playing advantage. Now,
there's advantage.
Sarah, there was a foot and there was no advantage. You can give the penalty corner and England keeps their referral. Okay, sorry guys.
So now Casey Easton will argue that they're, well no, she doesn't argue, she just goes across for confirmation.
Can't refer a referral.
Can't refer a referral, no. Quite right. So, with what, 1:26 left on the clock, England have an opportunity here.
Good decision by England to refer then.
Ansley and Unsworth have swapped to the top of the circle. Ansley now to the right-hand castle as we look down from our commentary position. It's gone to Unsworth. The slap. Too high is the call from the umpire. And Australia survive.
I think it's the correct decision.
The keeper saved it with a glove in a midriff, so that is too high. Flanagan. Chops it out to Jodie Kenny. Dwyer, who's literally just come on the park, picks it up, goes around Bray, then drops it into McMahon. McMahon into the, for the Hayescroft. McMahon up to Smith. Bray's back there defending but loses out, and Australia looking to apply pressure towards the end of the first half, the end of the second quarter. They lead by a goal to nil. Through Jodie Kenny on the ball now. She plays it into the circle. It's got into the circle. Can Australia get the shot away? Nascorn's trying to make something happen. Onto the foot. England are down. And this will be the last play of the first half. 40 seconds will now start. It's Jolie who's picked up that knock on the foot.
Just a scrappy piece of play, building up to it really. I think England had plenty of opportunity to get rid of the ball. Nanscorn just swivels on it and possibly hit Jolie on the knee, but because the knee's just off the ground, it's not classed as dangerous.
So Australia scored at the beginning of the first half. Can they score at the end of the first half? Kenny's there, Flanagan is there. Kenny to the left as we look down, Flanagan to the right. It's gone to Flanagan, and it's gone for the injector, Casey Easton, but Easton can't get the right connection on the ball. It's behind. That is the end of the first half, and Australia are in front thanks to a Jodie Kenny goal. It's Australia 1, England 0. Well, Australia there with an opportunity to perhaps sneak a second goal. Casey Easton certainly had the opportunity for the deflection, but couldn't get the angle on the stick. And England, who have lost their skipper Alex Danson to injury, go into half-time trailing by a goal, and they need to regroup and come out in the second half and try and force Australia into some errors and try and get back onto level terms. But at half-time, Australia lead England by 1-0. Welcome back to half-time break in this opening Pool B match for Australia and England. And it is Australia that are in front, courtesy of a Jodie Kenny penalty corner after 4 minutes of play. The other talking point of the first half, Alex Danson having to be stretchered off and taken to hospital after a collision with Anna Flanagan. But this is the only goal of the match so far, a deflection off the number one runner, taking it past goalkeeper and defender. England have had their opportunities. Sophie Bray with a swing and a miss after Anna Flanagan mistrapped, and then Laura Unsworth with a wonderful piece of defensive cover.
Yep, Jolie on the edge of the circle with her 3D skills. Couldn't quite execute the backhand shot, but really positive signs towards the end of the half. And 2 corners I think they had in the first half. Laura Unsworth with the second attempt, looking to use the slap pass, which a number of teams, I think the Belgian women do it with the Gruff, and America did it so well in the World Cup.
So here are the stats. Circle penetrations pretty similar, shots the same, possession opponent's half not too dissimilar, and pretty much what we expected from this match between Australia and England. But Australia with the one stat that matters the most, the goals scored, and just the one penalty corner. So you can see Australia making their way back out onto the park. Ash Wells just having a chat there, the keeper. Don't forget our social media, facebook.com/FI Hockey, Twitter @FIH_hockey, #HWL. Let us know what you think of the competition. What do you think of the quarters format? Who do you think is going to win the whole thing? How well do you think England will do? How well do you think Australia will do? Can Argentina give Aymar the send-off into the sunset that she would want on home turf? Australia, well, certainly the Australian defence having a good chat amongst themselves. Ash Wells seems to be laying down the law. England out. I wonder if we'll see the scenes we saw at the World Cup. Was it Belgium? Women coming out late,
Yep.
and the match starting?
Yep.
And the Belgian women had 22 players all running at the same goal. They didn't make that mistake again though, did they?
No, you keep thinking that it happens once and it will never happen again, but it keeps reappearing every now and again. Belgian women definitely won't make that mistake again.
Well, you said that, they're out nice and early. 70 seconds until we get this one back underway. And England need to be a little bit more assertive, a little bit more positive possession, don't they, in this second half? They've had their opportunities and they've started okay, but they need to, if they can, just go up a couple more gears.
Yeah, I think Australia are very clever. They put their experienced players in the middle of the pitch, so the likes of Kenny, Flanagan, McMahon, Easton, Attard. So England need to exploit the new caps, the ones that have got the 3 and the 4. What have you got? Have you got what it takes? If I put pressure on you, are you going to crack? And I think those are the questions that this English team need to ask of Australia in this third quarter and second half.
So, players are out nice and early, but we have no ball. Here it comes now. And Lily Owsley will get us underway when the whistle blows in a couple of seconds. Second half underway then in this Pool B match between Australia and England. Australia leading by a goal to nil. The goal coming after only 4 minutes of the match. And since then, Both sides have had opportunities, but none have managed to find the back of the net. Kenny under pressure from Owsley. And Nascorn will take the sideline ball into Flanagan. Little look up from Flanagan. She comes all the way over to Bone. And Bone can't deal with the bouncing ball. Owsley takes the sideline ball quickly, cuts back inside, but straight into McMahon, who pops it back to Bone, to Kenny. Bone once again. Bone tries to take the aerial route out, but straight to Unsworth. Unsworth moves it into Townsend. That was up off an Australian on the edge of the circle, so it's a 5-metre ball, which is taken by Townsend. Townsend finds herself in a cul-de-sac. That's a lovely piece of skill by Susanna Townsend to get the ball out of there to Sam Quack. The pace of the attack just slowed there as Unsworth can't keep the ball down on the deck. Again, the surface causing some problems for the players. Better from England. Marn drops it out to Flanagan. Flanagan to Bone. Bone looking for Nelson, and Nelson now has space to turn and find a pass, but Quack is across to cut it out as Smith was coming in behind it. Smith to Nelson. And Quack mops up, feeds it out to that left-hand flank where Owsley now gets on her bike. Coming up down through the middle is Sophie Bray. The ball won't get there at this time of asking. Owsley still going. There's an Australian stick on the deck. It's that of Casey Easton, the captain.
Just like to see Owsley in those situations keep going around the outside.
That's that piece of skill from Townsend. Sorry, carry on.
I just think Lily Owsley's got phenomenal speed. We've seen it on many occasions when she's played for England, and there I felt she had the beating of the Australian defender. If she'd have kept going around the outside, the defender wouldn't have kept up with her. Instead, she tried to cut inside, go on the more dangerous line to goal. Australia double teamed and were able to pick the ball off her.
Oof, that's a little low, and Bray does well to get out of the way. More importantly, from an England perspective, they have themselves the free hit on the 25. Run out for a long corner. Over to Owsley. Owsley does well to win the sideline ball. Quack and Owsley almost in each other's way. Owsley comes all the way back out. That's good play from Owsley. A little touch from Bray, doesn't quite come off. Now does it come off? An opportunity here for McLeod. She can't pull the trigger. McMahon. Bone. Seen a lot of that today. Players unable to keep the ball in play. McMahon again. Having a good game at the back for the Hockey Roos. Good work from Unsworth. Carmichael. So McMahon. Easton actually points for the ball to go backwards. It's played forward and it's picked out by Townsend. Townsend never got hold of that pass. And Carmichael now picks it up again, and here goes Nascorn. Nascorn on her bike. Up to Slattery. Slattery has a little look up. There's Nance in the middle. Flanagan to Attard. Kenny. To Attard. Kenny, and it goes, and that's a long corner. Oh, it's gone Australia's way. Ainsworth just questions that decision, but Australia have possession. Kenny rifles it in once more. It's bouncing around in that England circle. It's a penalty corner. Georgie Twigg just goes to have a little chat. And England giving away the penalty corner.
I don't think Georgie Twigg was really too sure here. I think as just there, the ball gets played onto her foot. She questioned it, but it was interesting as Laura Unsworth was walking back. Georgie Twigg had a little look and Laura Unsworth gave her the nod to say yes, it was a penalty corner.
So Kenny and Flanagan, left and right Castle. It's gone to Flanagan, but Attard can't trap the ball at the top of the circle. That's really good work from Lily Owsley to stop the secondary ball into the circle and allow the rest of the England side time to get back. Good defensive work from Georgie Twigg. And Australia going to go upstairs.
Now, did you get that? You're looking for a foot inside the circle? Yes. I'll take
Carol Machete of Ireland is the video umpire. Australia say there was a foot. The England players are getting their safety kit on, so I'm assuming that this is going to show that foot. Yep, there it is.
That's a great spot by the Australian captain. It's not very often they waste their referrals, but it's speculative ball in really by Kenny. But again, it's just lifting slightly off the, skipping off the Astro. And
Sarah, there was an English foot inside the circle. Australia keep the referral off the penalty corner. Guys, you keep your referral. You keep your referral.
So, another penalty corner. It's Carmichael who's trapping for Flanagan and Attard who's trapping for Kenny. Will they change where they go? Well, England too quick in getting their protective kit on, so we wait for the 40 seconds to elapse, which it will do shortly. And this time it goes to Kenny, but Attard can't trap the ball. But Kenny's going to get a shot at it anyway. And Mackay goes down, and that's good work in front of her by McCallum. Bray trying to play it infield. Eastham gets a stick on it. Then Kenny, Attard. Ooh. Bray taken down by Dwyer. And the ball forward for Lee. Goes off the end of the park.
it's not very often you see Australia miss trap one, but to miss trap two with Attard, and McCallum does exceptionally well there. She stays, she doesn't get immobile, she stays mobile on her feet, so she's able to react to Kenny and the hit. It was good pressure by Unsworth to come out, and McCallum does very, very well, and then Sam Quek clears it to try and set a fast England counter-attack.
Townsend looking to try and go round the outside. Takes it quickly to Shipley. Shipley, in that instance, I think needs to come out round the back and move it quickly rather than trying to Well, taking all the pace out of the attack. Taken quickly by England, and a chance here for them into the circle. It goes long corner. Haycroft, as she played it across, could only find the deflection.
But that's what they need to do more of. Sarah Haycroft takes a quick free hit, takes a number of the Australians out. She then goes around the outside. She backs herself on her pace to beat the Australian defence. Yes, it didn't quite get the outcome that she wanted in the circle, but it's a positive sign for England.
Nelson drops it out to Dwyer. Dwyer into Flanagan. Flanagan has Kenny right behind her. Here is Kenny. Out to Mahon. Mahon then throws the aerial, which is going to go out for a sideline ball. Well brought down. And here's a chance now for England, one-on-one with the keeper. She's mishit it, but scored. Ellie Wotton brings England level. Not the prettiest goal you'll ever see, but England players and England fans won't care. England back on level terms. Australia won, England won.
Fantastic aerial ball, and Jolie takes it down exceptionally well. Hits the ball in, bobbling. Ellie Wotton's definitely hit sweeter shots than that, but sometimes it doesn't matter. How many times do coaches say put something on target, and perhaps the mishit is what's actually stumped Ashley Wells in the goal? And fair play to England at 1-1. I think they've showed positive signs in this quarter, and I think they deserve it, and hopefully they can push on from there.
You're absolutely right, Mel. You know, a lot of times in commentary we give players grief for not hitting the target. Just shows doesn't have to be all about power and placement at times, does it? So England back on level terms. Their hard work paying off. Now they've got to kick on here if they can. Can Australia respond? Australia have the sideline ball. There's Ellie Wotton. Winning her 31st cap today. Gilbert. Twig with the captain's armband now around her right shin pad. And Gilbert now trying to find Wotton, and there was McLeod and McCallan on the left-hand flank. If you're wondering what all the screaming is, it's the Argentina coach just turning up to the ground for their game at 7:30. The fans on the far side getting all excited about the arrival of Las Leones. Lovely little ball for Wotton. Wotton trying to feed it into McLeod, but couldn't feed it through the legs of Dwyer.
It's been a purple patch for England though, hasn't it? They're really putting Australia under pressure. Really asking questions of the defence, and haven't quite got those connections in the final third, but you've got to be at least trying to create those chances, and Jolie's been good in that 5 minutes. Ellie Wotton's also been involved. Hannah McLeod's getting herself into the right positions. It will just be that final third play that is going to be the difference.
So Nelson bringing it out for Australia. Here's the skipper, Casey Easton. Lots of screaming going on from the respective benches. And that one's found its way through to has scored. Here's Shipley. Can't find Watton. It's out for a 16 and Watton takes a rest. Bray comes on. Kenny to Bone. Back into McMahon. It's cheap ball given away by Australia and a chance here for England. Penalty corner. And the purple patch continues for the team in red.
Yeah, it's good play. Owsley here. Looks like she's going to take Kenny on, plays the pass. Sophie Braid taking the back stick shot upright. Don't often see. So difficult for defenders to try and trap.
Yeah.
Off Bone's body.
After came off Flanagan's stick. So, top of the circle, Sam Queck. And Giselle Ansley, the no of 2. It's going to be Ansley. And the deflection at the far post by Lily Owsley, just wide of the target. And England
It's a well-worked move here.
executed it well,
Yeah.
apart from that final deflection.
My only question is, or my only slight criticism is, if Owsley could have kept 2 hands on her stick, because as she's diving and her hand's hitting the ground with one hand, it's making the stick move. If she could have kept 2 hands on it, she would have been a lot stronger. It may have been that the ball was just too far in front of her and she felt that she had to lift her other hand off to make that trap.
That's good work from England as McLeod played it in. Sadly, from their perspective, no one putting pressure on those posts, but England dominating the game at the moment, playing really well. I said that. Paris now wins possession back, and Twig has to just stop the forward momentum by fouling. Good work from Bray, trying to put the pressure on Flanagan. Willingness to come forward from England here. As Townsend just gets a little muddled up and can't get the ball from underneath her feet. And then Townsend's going to pick up a card for niggling at the stick. He wants the game to continue at a pace because there's only 12 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Australia could be done by the clock here. Kenny fires it in as a result. Unsworth comes forward with the ball once more. She's had a great game at the back, Laura Unsworth. And that is the end of the third quarter. And it's the quarter that England came back into the match to level it up. The goal scored by Ellie Watton. And with 15 minutes to go, it's Australia 1, England 1. So, the championship quarter, and these matches, it seems to have been the third, and England have come to the party in the third quarter. They've outplayed Australia for most of it.
Yeah, they put the pressure on Australia higher up the pitch. Didn't give players time on the ball, which is something that Australians like to do, and they've really upset the momentum and broken up the play. So I think it's a case of more of the same in this fourth quarter.
So Danny Kerry, Adam Cummins, the last chat with their team before they go out for the final 15. It's all to play for in the final quarter of the opening match at this Champions Trophy for Australia and England, because the two teams can't be split. So here are the goals for the match. That's the opener, 4 minutes in. The deflection of Susanna Townsend. But This is the equaliser. Ellie Watton all alone inside the Australia circle. Didn't hit it cleanly, but she got it on target. And if you get it on target, well, sometimes you score. Set up nicely, Mel Clulo.
It is, and it's certainly been the best tournament, of the best game of the day so far. I think both teams are here. They came out right from the first whistle. Previous games, it's been a little bit hesitant.
So England get this final quarter underway, having got the equaliser in quarter 3. Can one of these two kick on and find a winner? Bone. Needs it off the back of the park. And so Queck will take the 16, as she has done throughout most of the game. Steals about 5 yards on the restart. Lee to McCallan. There's going to be a card here for Edwina Bone, and it's yellow. Wow. Deemed to have been very cynical, I guess. This term, well, that plays a big part, because that is a third of this final quarter. Australia will play with 10, and now if they pick up a green card, then England really will have an opportunity. Confirmation that Edwina Bone has an extended stay on the seat in front of the technical bench. Smith is in plenty of space on this left-hand flank, and Queck gets across, and Queck felt that challenge. The pass was underplayed to Smith, and Queck is in some pain. She's got a stick right across.
Yeah, it's across the hip or into the ribs. I mean, again, it's one of those accidental things. Both players are watching the ball. Sam Queck does what you want your defender to do, which is step up, step in front of the player, wins the ball, and umpire's giving a bully, and hoping Australia just roll this one off the end of the pitch.
We'll see. The answer to that is no. Across comes McCallan to put it out of play on that sideline ball. Now Australia down to 10, but on the front foot here. Attack being the best form of defence perhaps for the Hockeyroos. Kenny to Easton, and the cross will come McCallan. This on the front foot again. Shipley now on this right-hand flank. Up into Bray. Bray up against Kenny. Bray doing well. Now dropping it off to McCallan. McCallan into the circle, and it goes. Flanagan is there to get it away. Anscorn just edges it up. England have possession.
It's not too often you see an Australian team giving the ball away, so in their own defence, almost feeling pressure. So used to seeing them calm, composed on the ball, looking for passes, playing the ball out. And here, Anna Flanagan there rushed her pass out of the circle to Nanscorn, who had to dive full length to try and get a touch on it.
Palmed around the post by Wells. Another long corner. Nelson puts it out. Same two players. Nope, it's the 16. Townsend's run it off the park. England ball. Sophie Bray took it quickly, but umpire has called them back. Townsend into Lee. Lee can't make it stick. Three-quarter time might just have come at the right time from a Hockey Roos perspective, because England were enjoying that third quarter. And the loss of Edwina Bone doesn't seem to have affected Australia that much. England haven't been able to capitalise, have they?
No, they haven't, and not often you see the team in any sport that loses a player. They're the ones that come out on top and they end up creating the opportunities. But apart from that first quarter, I can't really remember Kirsty Mackay being involved in the game. And when you say you're playing against Australia, it's not very often that you don't say things like that about your own goalkeeper.
Almost a little late now. Here's a chance for England. Gilbert going alone. Is that off the foot of Flanagan? Yes, it was. Watton will take it quickly up to the circle edge. Play on, says the umpire. And Australia weather that attack from England. Kenny to Flanagan. Be careful here, Ansley. Australia back up to full strength. Dwyer to Nelson. And Twigg penalised for the challenge on Nelson. Nelson drops it out to Kenny. Kenny winds one up but can't get it past Georgie Twigg. But Eastham can. The ball played out by Paris to Bone. First time back into the circle. Chance here. Eastham, lovely ball. Mackay makes the first save. Second save's gone under her body. Penalty corner. No. Well, the penalty corner has definitely been given. Going to go upstairs.
Can I see again? Hi, Sarah. I gave the penalty corner for the ball being underneath the goalkeeper, and I should have been able to play the ball. Can you have a look for me, please?
For the ball under the goalie, okay?
Yes.
So Sarah Wilson being asked to go upstairs once again. And Kirsty Mackay did get behind her, whether it was under her.
It was definitely under her for a period of time. I think it's interpretation again. I think, yes, the ball is definitely under there. If she held her whistle half a second longer, the ball is out. There, it's under her, which is when she's blown it. And from the angle that Sarah Wilson's at, she can't see the ball.
Well, I guess the point is, as the keeper goes down here, let's listen.
Yes, yes. Give me that.
So there, it's a corner.
But Paris can't get the ball. Mackay's stopping her getting the ball.
Listen. I'm going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. I made a decision. You can
Okay, Sarah. The ball was not caught under the goalie. The Australian player was not near to play the ball, so
Okay.
there's no vision.
So we go Billy at the top of the circle.
Bully, perfect. And England keep the referral.
Sorry, it's not bad again. Okay.
She doesn't lie on the ball, does she, Mackay? So I can understand that.
But from the angle that Sarah Wilson's at, you
Yeah.
can understand why she's given it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when she looks to the colleague for her help, and if she can't see it, that's why the video referral's there. So
Australia going to roll this one off the end of the park?
Definitely not.
Easton up against Twig, and Twig wins it. Gilbert to Unsworth. Quack on this right-hand side. He's recovered from her knock. To Townsend. Quack once again. Nice hands from Quack. Twig gets the free hit from the tackle from Nelson. Gilbert coming inside Kenny. Gilbert to the edge of the circle. There's 3 Australian players there, and the third one is Kirsten Dwyer, who brought the ball away, but England have it back. It is Unsworth. Good pace on the ball, gets it through to McLeod. Watton. Can't get the ball across the top of the circle, really get hold of it. Number of passes that she hasn't managed to get hold of properly. Kenny to Dwyer. Owsley gives away the free hit. It's gone all the way through. 16. Sarah Wilson's been busy, hasn't she, today? So is Cal Machete in this game. A number of decisions referred. That's a nice ball to Bray. She can keep it in. She can't. Nelson. Slattery's down that left flank, but up the middle goes Nelson, and Ansley does well to cut that ball out. Flanagan. This is Easton. Easton on the run. Try as she might, Holly Webb just couldn't get her feet out of the way.
Those are the frustrating ones, though, as a player, that there's no one around you, and you're probably thinking about the next thing you're going to do because you just know you're going to trap the ball. Unfortunately, as much as she tried to take one foot off the ground and then the other one, it's just clipped the back of her heel.
It's also very difficult when you're walking backwards, isn't it? Because you're trying to stop that backward momentum. So, Australia do get their chance. Kenny to the left, Flanagan to the right. There's been difficulty at stopping the ball down this end. Not this time. Kenny flicks, scores, down low to the keeper's right, and Australia are back in front by 2 goals to 1. That's a brilliant penalty corner from the Australian number 7.
Attard wasn't given a third opportunity. Smith with the trap, and Jodie Kenny, absolutely fantastic drag flick. Just off the ground. As a goalkeeper, it's so difficult when you're trying to dive. You can't quite get it with the stick. Can't go with your foot. But it's pinpoint accuracy by a very, very good drag flicker.
As you say, a change of trapper brings a change of fortune for the Hockeyroos. They lead by 2 goals to 1. Both goals scored by Jodie Kenny. Both from penalty corners. So Dwyer with the free hit. Picks out McMahon to Kenny. And Australia, who are under the cosh for the 3rd quarter, then a player light for the first 5 minutes of this 4th quarter, have retained their composure, they've used their experience, and they have made a penalty corner count, and that was rather cynical from Attard. There was no attempt to play the ball with her stick. She knew what she was doing by placing her foot on the ball, and she's got away with it. Again, Australia using their experience. Well, that's been blown up by Sarah Wilson on the far side. I didn't see what for. I thought England had turned possession over high up the park. This is Callan. Callan wins the free hit off Attar. Plays it up to Hayescroft. Haycroft can't win possession. McMahon has it. McMahon. That was almost a wonderful pass for Slattery. Really difficult to weight those passes correctly, isn't it? England getting themselves in trouble. Holly Webb. Wow. Got herself out of jail there. Nelson. McMahon. Here's Bone. Bone under pressure from Townsend. Nelson. Past Haycroft. Nelson still going. Down this left-hand flank is Smith. Emily Smith. Up against Sam Queck. Queck thought that was out of play and sort of stepped off. Allows Smith the run at the circle, then Nelson injecting the ball into the circle. It's behind for 16, and there's 2:30 remaining on the clock.
It's a great bit of skill by Ashley Nelson just to nutmeg Sarah Haycroft and get on the other side. But again, England have come out fighting, having gone down 2-1, and they've certainly, for me, been the brighter team in this game.
Haycroft picked off by Bone. England still with possession. Tackle from behind. Play on, says the umpire. Unsworth gets the stick on the ball, but it's taken quickly by Paris. Paris, lovely ball out to Nanscorn. Now, Australia, can they find a third and effectively kill the game? Up off the stick of the England defender, Giselle Ansley. Flanagan. Australia 2, England 1. Just over 90 seconds remaining in the piece. Nanscorn has a swing and a miss. Ansley wants the ball quickly. Need to get this ball forward inside the final 80 seconds. Are they to open their 2014 Champions Trophy account with a loss? A narrow loss to Australia. Queck to Haycroft, to Unsworth. Here's Webb. Inside the final minute now. Townsend. Tackled by Easton. Queck. Mass ranked of Australia behind the ball, and it's a loose pass from Queck to Paris, and Paris will bring it away. Then offloads to Smith. Emily Smith will just put it off the back of the park. Just eat up a few more seconds. Haycroft loses out to Nelson, and here's a chance for Australia to wrap it up. Shot comes in, and it's wide from Emily Smith. And that should see Australia over the line. The crowd count down. It's rifle forward. Here's Bray. Bray coming inside. And that is the final hooter. And Australia have beaten England by a single goal yet again. Plenty of bright moments in it for England, but plenty of bright moments in it for Australia as well. Australia 2, England 1. Well, England, who showed so much promise in that third quarter, they were on the front foot at the start of the fourth, ultimately undone by 2 penalty corners. I don't think Australia will be too happy about the goal they conceded. But in the end, Australia, they know how to win, and the world number 2s have done just that here. And Mel, plenty of positives for England to work on, but sadly for them it is a loss.
Absolutely, I think they were the better team on the game tonight, and I think
so. England will take on Germany tomorrow. Australia will take on Argentina. What a game that promises to be, as we see the highlights of this match, this opening match in Pool B. Here is the goal for England. I say, Australia won't be particularly happy about that concession. Take nothing away from Kenny there, that is a very good penalty corner. It's hard, it's fast, and it's at that height for the keeper where even if she has her stick on the ground it's going to go in, because it'll take the top edge. And Kirsty Mackay can't keep it out.
she almost takes half a step to her left, thinking it's maybe going into that corner.
Well, Anna Flanagan and her teammates are victorious. Let's hear from the victorious captain, Casey Easton, who's with Sarah Thomas.
Casey, a win to start the tournament. Were you pleased with that team performance?
Yeah, pretty happy. Obviously, we'd like to play a bit better hockey consistently throughout the 4 quarters. But yeah, I think pretty good start for a pretty inexperienced group.
Brilliant. And moving on to Argentina tomorrow evening. Amazing atmosphere in Argentina. How much are you looking forward to playing in that game?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. We always get a really good crowd here in Argentina, and they're probably like our second family. So unfortunately, we do face Argentina in our pool match. So I'm guessing they're not going to be on our side for that one. But yeah, really appreciative of everyone for coming out today and supporting us, and for the rest of the tournament.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you to Casey Easton and to Sarah Thomas for asking the questions. But consistency, we mentioned that England were the better in that third period, but that is part of this new facet of the game, isn't it? It's that 4 quarters consistency, which although it's less time than 2 halves, it is harder because of those breaks, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is, but I think England can take some real positives from that game. They've run the Hockeyroos very close. But the bottom line is clinical finishing on penalty corners, and that is a huge part of the game, there's no question about it. And in Jodie Kenny and Anna Flanagan, they have world-class drag flickers. With Kate Richardson-Walsh not being here, the retirement of Krista Cullen in 2012, England haven't quite found that person to take on that mantle, and that is the difference. And that is the difference. But again, as I say, positive signs for a new group of players, and the younger players, the newer players stood up and were counted.
Yeah, certainly we said at the beginning, you know, if England played like they played in the World Cup, it would be very difficult. If they played like they played in the Commonwealth Games, it would be a much better tournament for them. On that performance, it's more what we saw in August than what we saw in June, isn't it?
Absolutely, and they're building up to the Europeans next summer back home in the UK. And you know, it's 6 months with Danny Kerry, and you can see the difference that he's made on that group of players in a short space of time. So it's looking a very bright, positive future for England. So
England have to come back tomorrow to take on Germany, having lost their opening match against Australia by 2 goals to 1. But plenty of positive for Danny Kerry and his team.